There are no accidents in creation. What you hold in the stillness of your mind with faith must take shape in the realm we call reality. I did not chase the $70 million 0 cents. I did not write 100 goals. I did not plead with heaven. I simply whispered and believed. 3 words, simple, final, alive. I'm wealthy, not I wish I was wealthy, not I hope one day it will come, not I will be, I am. Present, final, without doubt. Let me tell you this. Those 3 words are not magic in the ordinary sense. They are not spells. They are revelations. They are keys. They are vibrations that must be felt deep within. And once they are impressed upon the subconscious, the world has no choice but to echo them. If you shut the door against any possibility, if you confront either the past. When I said I am wealthy, I did not wait for the bank account to reflect it. I did not measure my current surroundings. I felt it. I lived in that wealth internally. I sat in a different chair. I walked with a different rhythm. I dined at a finer table, all in my imagination. I closed my eyes and saw the world respond. That is the secret. Imagination is not fantasy. It is the womb of reality. The $70 million 0 cents did not come because I wished for it. It came because I no longer needed it. I was it. I became the state where it was natural to receive. The world must bring you what you already are. Now listen closely. These 3 words, I am wealthy. They are not just a phrase. They are an identity. They must be repeated until they dissolve the old self. You say them until the old man, the one who doubted, feared, and chased, is gone, and a new man stands in his place. A man who does not desire wealth because he is it. It was never about the money. It was always about the consciousness. $70 million, 0 cents, was just the shadow. The real shift was internal. When I changed the self-concept, the entire world rearranged. So I say to you, not with urgency, not with struggle, but with knowing. I am wealthy. Feel it now, accept it now, live from it now, and watch what must follow. Consciousness is the cause of every event, every circumstance, and every dollar that flows into your life. There is no power outside of your awareness that determines your financial destiny. The idea that something out there must change before you become wealthy is the grand illusion, the false belief that keeps many trapped in cycles of lack and effort. But the truth is this: all wealth flows from the inner state of being well. It is not about how much work you do or how many people you know. It is about who you are, inwardly, what you accept as true of yourself. The moment you shift your consciousness, the moment you become wealth in your inner world, the outer world begins to reflect that new identity. This is not imagination as fantasy. This is imagination as creation. The world around you is not fixed or final. It is plastic. It is a mirror. And like any mirror, it cannot show you what you are not already being. It does not respond to what you want or wish or plead for. It responds to what you are. So if you desire financial overflow, you must stop looking outside for signs. You must go within and claim that which you seek is already yours. You must assume the state, live from it, think from it, feel from it. The one who walks in the awareness of being wealthy does not act like someone hoping for a change. They act as one who already knows. And this knowing is the seed from which all manifestations grow. And this knowing is the seed from which all manifestations grow. To say I am wealthy and mean it, truly mean it, is to activate the law of consciousness. It is to sow a new identity into the soil of the subconscious, which in time will bear fruit as visible wealth. That is the great mystery hidden in plain sight. All change begins in awareness, not in the bank, not in the job, not in the market, but in the soul. In the quiet moments when you close your eyes and declare with inner certainty, "This is who I am now." This principle is not limited by time, location, or background. It does not ask if you are deserving, qualified, or experienced. It only asks one question: what are you conscious of being? That is the source. That is the cause. Your world is simply your consciousness, objectified. You don't get what you want. You get what you are. If you want to see millions flow into your life, you must feel the millions within first, not with strain or doubt, but with peace and confidence. Not someday, but now. You must saturate your inner world with the feeling of already having it. Speak it until it feels natural. Walk as if it is already done. Think thoughts from that place. That is the true act of creation. When your inner world is full of wealth, your outer world cannot help but reflect it. Not because you forced it, but because you became it. The outer world is the shadow. The substance is your consciousness. Become the thing, and the world will echo it back to you without fail. Words have power, but not because of their sound. The true power of any word lies not in its syllables, not in the way it rolls off the tongue, but in the vibration it carries, the feeling it evokes deep within. The three words that changed everything, "I am wealthy," are not spoken into the air to beg or convince the universe. They are not mantras to be shouted, chanted, or proclaimed until your voice is hoarse. These words work not by their volume, but by their vibration. It is the felt meaning behind the words that causes the world to shift. When you speak these words in alignment with your being, when you feel them, you move into a different frequency of life. You enter the state of the wish fulfilled. It is not something you strive to believe, it is something you rest in. That feeling, that subtle, powerful conviction, is what the world responds to. The silence of the soul speaks louder than the noise of desperate words. And in that silence, when the words are no longer just thoughts, but identities, reality bends to mirror them. Most people say affirmations from a place of lack. They say, "I am wealthy," while feeling broke. "I am loved," while feeling abandoned. "I am powerful," while feeling afraid. And then they wonder why nothing changes. It's because the outer sound is disconnected from the inner truth. The vibration is missing. The subconscious cannot be deceived by words alone. It only responds to feeling. And feeling is the secret. Feeling is the fuel. The power of the three words lies in your ability to become what you declare. When you say, "I am wealthy," you must become wealth in consciousness. You must wear it like a second skin, not for performance, but as truth, as the most natural and obvious thing in the world. You must walk as if it's done. Think from that place. Feel the confidence, ease, and expansiveness of already having it. Let that vibration move through your body, settle into your mind, and anchor itself in your spirit. The words are seeds, but a seed without soil, water, and light remains dormant. The feeling is the soil, the repetition is the water, and faith is the light. When you feel your words as already true, when you sit in the stillness of "I am" without resistance, something within shifts. That shift is the beginning of all manifestation. You do not need to shout these words. You do not need to prove anything to anyone, not even yourself. You only need to accept them. In quiet, sincere stillness, say them, not to the world, but to your soul. Whisper them with reverence, not demand. Let them move through your being until the outer world has no choice. but to reflect your inner certainty. The world doesn't respond to your words, it responds to your state. Words are the doorway, feeling is the key, and conviction, quiet, sacred conviction, is the force that opens every gate. Speak from your center, feel it in your bones, and let the silence of your belief do the talking. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to abandon the waiting game. It is to release the desperate search for proof and enter into the state where what you desire is already yours. Not tomorrow, not next month, but now. It is a profound inner decision to become the version of yourself who already has the thing you want. This is not about pretending. This is not acting in the worldly sense. It is deeper than performance. It is inner transformation. When you speak the words, I am wealthy, or I am loved, or I am free, you are not calling to something that is far off. You are not hoping the universe is listening. You are declaring the end. You are standing on the mountaintop of fulfillment, looking back at the journey that your senses have yet to witness. You are feeling what it's like to be at the end of the story, even when the physical world still looks unchanged. Feeling what it's like to be at the end of the story. You are feeling what it's like to be at the end of the story. You are feeling what it's like to be at the end of the story. You are feeling. This is the difference between living from your desire and living towards it. To live towards a desire is to place it always in the future, always something to be reached, always a few steps away. But to live from the desire is to claim it now, as a present fact in your imagination. And this is the secret. The imagination, when believed in, becomes the only reality that matters. The senses may contradict you. The bank account may say no. The outer world may laugh. But none of that can overpower a man or woman who dwells daily in the feeling of the fulfilled wish. To assume the feeling is to embody the new identity. It's not about getting something, it's about becoming someone. Ask yourself, how would I feel if it were already done? What would my mornings look like? How would I walk, speak, breathe, dress? The mind doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is vividly imagined. So if you feed it the feeling of completion, it will rewire your inner state, and the world will reorganize itself to match it. This is not passive hoping. This is active creation. It takes courage to feel rich when the bills are unpaid. It takes faith to feel healed while the pain still lingers. But that is the path. That is the price of creation. To believe before the evidence shows up. And when you do, you shift timelines. You collapse waiting. You bring the end into the now. The words you speak must carry the feeling of the end, not the longing for it, but the satisfaction of it, not the desire, but the possession. When you live from the state of your fulfilled desire, you no longer question if it will happen. You know it has already happened in the unseen, and you rest in that knowing. To assume the feeling is to dwell in truth, the truth that your inner world is the only world that matters. You don't wait for the world to confirm it. You move first. You feel first, and the world, like a mirror, has no choice but to reflect what you have become. Repetition is not a ritual. It is a tool of transformation. The mind is not moved by occasional affirmations or fleeting thoughts. It is molded by what it hears consistently, especially what it hears from you. The words you speak, the ideas you entertain, the beliefs you nourish, when repeated over time, begin to settle into the subconscious, and the subconscious, once impressed, becomes the author of your reality. Repetition is how you teach the inner world to believe what the outer world has not yet shown. In the beginning, the words may feel foreign. I am wealthy, I am chosen, I am powerful. At first, they sound like empty declarations, hopeful but unconvincing, but that is simply because the old self still echoes too loudly. You are not failing, you are reprogramming. And all reprogramming requires time, persistence, and faith. The words must be repeated until they dissolve resistance, until they are no longer spoken to the self but from the self. When repetition reaches the point where the statement feels natural, effortless, and obvious, then you have saturated the mind. And the moment the subconscious accepts the idea as real, the world begins to reflect it. It's not about saying the words louder or with more emotion. It's about saying them consistently, over and over, day after day. Whisper them when you wake. Think them when you walk. Write them before you sleep, until they no longer feel like trying. They feel like remembering. This is how you overwrite the old narrative, the story of lack, fear, doubt, and delay. It was built through repetition too, years of hearing it's not possible, you're not enough, you can't have that, layered your mind with lies that became your inner reality. But just as those stories were written, they can be rewritten, word by word, thought by thought, feeling by feeling. The key is persistence. Repetition without impatience. You do not plant a seed and dig it up every morning to see if it's growing. You water it. You nurture it. You trust the process. The same is true here. Speak the truth of who you are, again and again. Not to get something, but to become something. As you repeat these new truths, they begin to shift your emotional state. You start to walk differently, think differently, respond differently, and soon you find that the words you once repeated out of hope now rise up from you as a natural identity. You no longer say, "I am wealthy," to convince yourself. You say it because it's who you are. It's your default. And reality, unable to argue with the dominant vibration, aligns accordingly. This is the unseen work, the inner saturation, the conditioning of the soul. When your inner world is fully occupied by a new idea, when there is no room left for contradiction, manifestation becomes inevitable. Not because you forced it, but because you believed it long enough for it to become your truth. Repeat the words until they are no longer words, until they are you. Then watch as the world, with perfect obedience, becomes the mirror of your new self. The world does not respond to what you want. It responds to what you are. This is the principle that governs all creation, whether you are conscious of it or not. You may want riches, love, health, success, and yet remain in a state of lack, longing, and separation from those very things. The mistake lies in believing that desire alone is enough to cause change. But the law is clear. You do not receive what you beg for. You receive what you embody. The $70 million, 0 cents, didn't come because someone wanted money. It didn't arrive because of struggle or hustle or perfectly written goals. It came because a shift occurred inwardly. A shift in self-concept, in identity, in vibration. The person who received the wealth had first become it in consciousness. Before the numbers appeared in the account, before the deals were made, before the opportunities arrived, the inner transformation had already taken place. The outer was only following the inner. When you think of yourself as someone who wants money, you create a reality in which you are always reaching, always seeking, always needing. Wanting is rooted in the feeling of not having. And that feeling becomes your signal, your vibration, your energetic instruction to the world. And the world, being your mirror, reflects it faithfully. But when you become wealth inwardly, when you think, feel, and act as someone who already is abundant, the world reorganizes itself to match that state. Not because you forced it to, but because you became the version of yourself to whom that outcome is natural. That's the secret. Your results will always align with your self-concept. Not your effort, not your wishes, but your state of being. This is why you must go beyond wishing. You must stop hoping the outer world will fix the inner void. The truth is that the outer world is neutral. It doesn't give you what you ask for, it gives you what you are conscious of being. It is a mirror, and mirrors don't lie. If the reflection is one of struggle, scarcity, or delay, it's only because something in you continues to identify with that story. To change the reflection, you must change the one looking into the mirror. You must close your eyes and build the identity of someone who already has what they once sought. Feel the security, the peace, the confidence, the joy, the gratitude, not as fantasy, but as truth. When it becomes more real in your imagination than the physical world must follow. This is not wishful thinking, this is spiritual law. The one who receives is not the one who tries hardest. It is the one who has assumed the state of already having. The one who no longer hopes but knows. The one who is no longer trying to attract money, but walks as if they already are abundance itself. When you embody it inwardly, life reflects it outwardly. You do not attract what you chase. You attract what you are. Become it within and let the world catch up. Imagination, faith, and feeling. These are not poetic concepts, they are the trinity of creation. They form the unseen equation that governs all manifestation. Every result in your life, whether desired or unwanted, began with this formula. And when these three are aligned, when they work together in harmony, reality bends. Not by force, not by effort, but by spiritual law. Imagination is the womb of reality. It is the place where all things are born. Everything you now see, touch, or experience began first as an image in someone's mind. It was first imagined, then believed, and finally felt into being. The moment you imagine something vividly, when you see it in detail, when you hear the sounds, touch the textures, live inside the scene, you plant a seed in the subconscious. But imagination alone is not enough. For that seed to take root, it must be wrapped in faith. Faith is the conviction that what you do not yet see is already real. It is not blind belief. It is not passive waiting. It is the inner knowing that your imagination is not just fantasy, it is creation. When you have faith in your imaginal act, you trust that it is working, even when your senses argue. You no longer need evidence. You no longer beg. You simply rest in the assurance that what you imagine is now forming, even in the invisible. But the final ingredient, the one that breathes life into the whole process, is feeling. Feeling is the energy that activates faith and gives texture to imagination. When you feel the joy of having your desire, when you feel the gratitude as though it were already yours, you begin to impress the subconscious with a new state of being. And since the subconscious creates your reality, it must obey that impression. It is not enough to think about wealth, love, or success. You must feel yourself already surrounded by it. You must feel what it's like to live that life. Not someday, but now. The feeling is the signal. It tells the subconscious, this is who I am. This is my truth. And when imagination, faith, and feeling unite, the world must conform. It is not a question of if, it is only a matter of when. Most people reverse the process. They wait for results before they feel successful. They want the evidence first, and then they will believe. But manifestation does not work that way. You must believe first and feel first. You must imagine it real, and reality will echo your inner world back to you. This is the power you've always had. You don't need to chase anything. You don't need to force the world to give you what you want. You need only to imagine it clearly, believe in it deeply, and feel it as true. and the universe will yield, not because you fought for it, but because you aligned with it. Imagination plus faith plus feeling, this is the formula. Master it within, and life will mirror it without. You are the cause. Reality is the effect. You were never meant to chase, beg, or prove yourself worthy of what is already yours. The $70 million 0 cents was not luck, not chance, not effort alone. It was the inevitable result of alignment. Alignment with truth, with identity, with vibration. When you understand that consciousness is the cause, when you no longer say the words but become the words, reality must follow. You do not manifest through force. You manifest through assumption, through repetition, through unwavering faith in what your senses cannot yet see. The world cannot give you what you have not first become. You imagine it, you believe it, you feel it, and the world reflects it. So speak those 3 words. I am wealthy, not as a wish, but as a truth. Not from need, but from knowing. Let them move through you until they are no longer something you say, but who you are, because once you are it within, it must appear without. This is the law, this is the mystery, and this is your power. Sincerely, thank you for receiving this message, not just with your ears, but with your soul. May you walk forward not seeking riches, but knowing you already are the source from which all riches flow. There is a moment, quiet, still, and sacred, when the jackpot appears. But not because you chased it, not because you spoke it endlessly. It arrives when you became it inwardly, and then you went silent. You see, most people think manifestation is about constant motion, asking, scripting, repeating. But there's a deeper truth, one that very few understand. Manifestation responds to the quiet certainty of the inner man, not the frantic noise of the outer world. It's easy to talk about your desire, it's easy to explain it to others, but do you feel it real? Do you walk in the end of it? Or are you still begging the world to give it to you? The jackpot, whether it's wealth, love, healing, or purpose, does not come to the one who shouts the loudest. It comes to the one who has already received it within. Silence is not weakness. Silence is not passivity. Silence is power. It is the point where the world can no longer distract you from your inner truth. It is where your assumption settles into fact. Have you ever had a moment when you stopped talking about it, stopped journaling, stopped explaining, and suddenly it came? That was not a coincidence. That was your spirit aligning with the truth that it is already done. When you go silent, not out of doubt, but from confidence, you signal to the universe, I have it. There's nothing more to discuss. And in that moment, something shifts. The energy changes. Your vibration stabilizes. You no longer want it, it's yours. And the physical world, like a faithful servant, moves to confirm what you now silently know. The jackpot manifests when you stop checking the clock, when you stop talking about it to others, when you enter the scene in your imagination and remain there without resistance, in silence. Stillness is not the absence of activity. It is the presence of full embodiment. When you are being, there is nothing left to ask. You don't plant a seed and keep digging it up. You leave it in the dark, in the still, in the soul. And that silence is what brings it to life. Go quiet, go within, and become the man or woman who already holds the winning ticket. Not because you said it, but because you are it. Remember, the jackpot is not out there. It is not won. It is accepted, claimed, and it shows up when you no longer need to make a sound. True creation begins not with sound, but with silence. It begins not in the frantic efforts of the mind, nor in the loud demands made of the world, but in that still and sacred space within, where nothing is spoken, and yet everything is known. It is in this silence that the true seed of your desire is planted, and where it is nurtured by the very presence of your being. Here it is, beyond. Most people believe that to create is to strive, to chase, to constantly ask. They flood their minds with affirmations, their journals with declarations, and their days with endless repetition of what they want. But there is a deeper mystery, known only to those who have discovered the power of stillness. For it is not through speaking that the universe is commanded, but through being. And being is born in silence. Silence is not empty, it is full, pregnant with creation. It is the place where the invisible takes form, where the formless becomes shaped by consciousness. In silence, all distractions fall away. The opinions of others no longer crowd your mind. The need to explain yourself disappears. The urge to chase dissolves. And in that emptiness, something begins to stir. The outer world is loud. It screams of lack, of delay, of reasons why it hasn't happened yet. But the inner world is quiet and yet all-powerful. When you enter that inner silence, not to beg, not to seek, but simply to dwell in the state of your wish fulfilled, you are stepping into the true seat of creation. Here you do not ask for the thing you desire, you become it. The silence becomes your sanctuary. The moment you stop talking about it, stop trying to convince yourself or others, and simply rest in the knowing, the creation begins. You are not waiting for the world to give it to you. You are giving it to yourself by assuming the state of already having received. That assumption, felt quietly and deeply, becomes the command to the universe. Do not mistake silence for passivity. Silence is the most active force in the world when it is born from inner conviction. The one who is truly silent is not lost. They are focused. They are aligned. They are no longer wavering between doubt and belief. They are no longer needing evidence. Every great manifestation begins with a moment of stillness, a pause, a breath, a quiet choice to turn within and see what cannot yet be seen with the outer eye. In this space, the world has no hold on you. You are free. Free to imagine, free to become, free to create without interference. In silence, the seed is planted, it grows in the dark. It is nourished not by effort, but by certainty. And when the time is right, it bursts through the soil of physical reality, not because you pushed it, but because you trusted it. Silence is the womb of creation. Guard it, honor it, retreat into it daily. And within that holy silence, allow yourself to become the one who already has what you once only dreamed of. Desire is not meant to be explained, argued for, or validated by others. It is meant to be felt deeply, vividly, and completely. Talking about a desire often becomes a form of delay, a way of keeping it outside yourself. The mind wants to describe, dissect, and understand, but the soul already knows. The soul feels, and that feeling is the only thing required to call it into being. When you speak endlessly about what you want, you are often revealing that you do not yet have it. Words can become a mask for doubt. You say, I want this, or I'm working on manifesting that, because you have not yet stepped into the state of already having it. But desire, when it is truly alive, does not demand verbal confirmation. It becomes a silent certainty. It moves from concept to embodiment, and embodiment happens through feeling. To feel your desire real is to step into the version of you who no longer longs for it, because they live in the experience of it. You do not need to explain to the world why you deserve it. You do not need to justify it, rationalize it, or earn it. You only need to feel it in your imagination so completely that it becomes natural. And once it feels natural, it becomes inevitable. Most people seek proof before they allow themselves to feel fulfilled. They say, when I see it, I'll believe it. But true manifestation works in reverse. You must believe it before you see it. And belief is not mental noise. It is emotional knowing. It is the deep inner alignment with the end result. Even when no outer evidence exists, there is immense power in closing your eyes, silencing the world, and stepping into the scene where your desire is already real. You do not speak it, you live it. You breathe in the air of that new reality. You touch it, taste it, and rest in it as if it were the only truth. That feeling is what impresses the subconscious. That inner knowing is what shapes the world around you. It is not the repetition of words that brings your desire to life. It is the repetition of experience within. The mind may repeat affirmations, but the body must feel the fulfillment. Until your inner self walks in the end, the outer world cannot reflect it. But the moment you assume the state of the wish fulfilled, not with effort, but with quiet conviction, you become the cause of what the world calls a miracle. The person who truly feels their desire no longer needs to talk about it. They radiate it. They walk differently. They think differently. And soon they live differently. Because they no longer identify with the lack of it, they become a match to its presence. So step away from the need to explain. Let others wonder. Let the world ask. You do not owe anyone your process. You only owe yourself the feeling of already being the one who has it. In that silent inner state where the desire is felt as real and natural, everything begins to rearrange. The world cannot help but reflect what you have become. The world does not respond to your words, your effort, or your pleading. It responds to your silent assumptions, those quiet truths you hold within yourself, whether consciously or unconsciously. You may shout your desires from the rooftops, tell everyone what you're working toward, and fill notebooks with affirmations, but if, in the depth of your being, you still assume lack, fear, or delay, that is what the world will reflect back to you. Life is a mirror, and the reflection is not shaped by volume or effort. It is shaped by your state of being, what you have quietly accepted as real, what you have emotionally assumed as already done. This is why silence holds more power than noise. In silence, the facade falls away. The outer performance ceases. What remains is the truth you are dwelling in. And that truth becomes your life. You do not have to convince the world of your worthiness. You do not have to beg the universe for a blessing. When you assume, in silence, that you already are what you seek, the world begins to comply. The people, circumstances, and opportunities start to shift, not because you forced them, but because you changed the signal you are sending out. Many misunderstand silence. They think silence is inaction, passivity, or surrender in the negative sense. But silence, when grounded in inner certainty, is the most powerful form of action there is. It is the invisible command that reshapes reality. When you quietly accept that your desire is already fulfilled, you no longer act from desperation, you act from confidence. You move from knowing, you walk as though it is already yours because inwardly it is. What you assume in your imagination, what you embody without needing to declare it to the world, that is the seed of manifestation. A man may say he wants wealth, but if he still feels like the poor man inside, the world will continue to reflect lack. A woman may say she desires love, But if she assumes abandonment or unworthiness, that assumption will color every relationship. The mirror never lies, it only reveals. This is why the work is always internal. You do not need to fix the world. You only need to fix the image you hold within. Change your assumption, and the reflection must follow. And that assumption is not formed by repetition alone. It is formed by feeling. It is made real when you step into the inner knowing in silence that it is already done. Silence is not the absence of life. It is where life is born. It is the stillness before the wave, the quiet before the manifestation. In that sacred silence, you are not waiting, you are becoming. And when you become it within, the world cannot help but follow suit. So withdraw from the noise, cease the endless declarations, go inward. Find that place where your desire already lives and rest there. Assume it quietly, confidently, and completely. The world will not respond to what you say. It will respond to what you are. There comes a moment in every true act of creation when the noise fades, the struggle ceases, and the inner world falls into stillness. That stillness is not emptiness. It is a signal. It tells you the work is done. The feeling has been accepted. The desire has been claimed. You no longer need to reach for it because something within has already received it. This is not a place of waiting. It is a place of having. And it arrives not with excitement or urgency, but with a deep, steady peace. The mind, so often consumed with questions, how, when, why, begins to grow quiet. The urgency to control or fix things melts away. The inner noise that once doubted, questioned, and demanded begins to lose its power, and what remains is stillness. But this stillness is not passive. It is rich, it is alive. It is the sure sign that the seed of your desire has taken root. You do not need to see immediate evidence in the outer world to know that manifestation has begun. You only need to feel the inner shift. When your heart is full, when you can rest in the joy of having, even before it appears, then you are in the state of fulfillment. That is the end. That is the answer. Creation does not require constant repetition or effort once the seed has been planted. A farmer does not return to the soil every hour to dig up what he planted. He knows that once the seed is placed in the earth, it is being worked on in the unseen. In the same way, when your inner world reaches that point of calm assurance, when the thought of your desire brings a smile, not a craving, you are done. The stillness confirms it. This is not the same as giving up or letting go in defeat. It is the surrender of faith, not the surrender of despair. It is the kind of letting go that only happens when you know something is already yours. You have felt it. You have walked in the end, and now you no longer need to strive. The feeling has been accepted by your deeper self, and the outer world is already on its way to catch up. Silence, in this context, is not the absence of thought. It is the presence of knowing. It is the inner quiet that says, I have it. Without speaking, without effort, you dwell in the feeling of completion. You no longer look for signs, because you are the sign. Your stillness is the proof that your assumption has become your identity. The world may not yet see what you see. That's irrelevant. Manifestation is not about convincing others. It is about embodying the truth within. And when you are truly still, truly full, the echo of your fulfillment begins to reverberate outward. Life rearranges itself around your state of being. So when you feel that stillness rise within you, honor it. That is the sacred moment, that is the signal. The desire has been received, the shift has occurred, and now all you must do is remain in the knowing. The silence is the seal. The seed is planted. The outcome is assured. There is a great misunderstanding about the power of words when it comes to manifestation. People believe that the more they talk about their desires, the closer they are to them. They share their dreams, explain their goals, seek validation, and endlessly affirm what they want. But in truth, constant talking often reveals that the desire has not yet been accepted within. It is still separate, it is still a wish, not a reality. And as long as you keep speaking about it without embodying it, you are delaying its arrival. Talking can easily become a way to keep what you want at arm's length. It's as if you are rehearsing a role you hope to play someday rather than stepping into the identity of the person who already has the role. You explain your vision to others, but inside, you are still uncertain. You haven't won the feeling of it being real. You haven't entered the state of fulfillment. And until you do, the outer world cannot mirror it back to you. Manifestation does not come from saying the right words. It comes from occupying the right state. And that state is reached through feeling, not speaking. Words can point to the desire, but only feeling brings it home. When you feel it real, when you live the inner experience of having, being, or doing the thing you want, it begins to manifest without noise, quietly, naturally, effortlessly. There's something powerful that happens when you go silent, when you stop explaining, when you stop needing others to understand or agree. In that silence, you shift from seeking to being. You no longer look for signs, you become the sign. You no longer talk about becoming wealthy, you move, breathe, and feel as the one who already is. And that feeling is what sets everything in motion. This is not about denial or repression. It is about embodiment. The person who has already received does not need to keep announcing it. The winner does not convince others they have won, they live it. When you internalize your desire so completely that it becomes part of your identity, it starts to show up externally. And often it does so when you least expect it, because you're no longer looking for it. You are it. Talking is a sign of reaching outward. Feeling is a sign of reaching inward. The moment you cross over from discussion to embodiment, the manifestation process accelerates. The jackpot finds you, not because you chased it, but because you aligned with it. In stillness, in certainty, in feeling. You don't need to explain what you're creating. You don't need to announce your transformation. You only need to feel the reality of it within you so clearly, so consistently, that the world has no choice but to mirror it. Let silence become your companion. Let feeling be your language. Let the outer world remain uninformed while your inner world becomes alive. The desire fulfilled is not something you talk about, it's something you live. And once you live it inside, it becomes undeniable outside. Manifestation does not happen when you cling, beg, or chase. It happens when you release, not from hopelessness, but from fulfillment. When you finally let go, not because you've given up, but because you no longer need it, you have entered the sacred space of detachment. And in that space, everything begins to unfold. Detachment is not coldness. It is not disinterest. It is not apathy. It is inner completion. It is the deep realization that what you desire is already yours, and therefore there is nothing left to seek. You stop needing it because you already feel the joy, the satisfaction, the identity of being the person who possesses it. And from that space of wholeness, manifestation occurs naturally, effortlessly, silently. Neediness pushes your desire away. It announces lack. It tells the subconscious that what you want is still separate, still out there, still not here. The more you long for it, the more you place it in the future, the more you talk about someday, the further away that day becomes. But when you shift into detachment, when you feel so secure, so full, so convinced within, there is no more waiting. You have already arrived. This inner shift is subtle yet powerful. You may still desire something, but you are no longer desperate for it. You are no longer searching for evidence, asking for signs, or doubting your worthiness. You've crossed the invisible line from wanting to knowing. You've stopped knocking on doors and started walking through them in your imagination. And this is where silence becomes sacred. Silence is not surrender to failure. It is surrender to fulfillment. It is entering the state where nothing more is required. You are not passive. You are not idle. You are still. And that stillness is filled with the energy of having. The jackpot does not come to the one who is loud, restless, or constantly trying to make it happen. It comes to the one who has already accepted it internally. The one who has walked in the end, tasted the feeling of the outcome, and now moves through life with calm certainty. This detachment is not absence, it is presence. It is total absorption in the state of the wish fulfilled. You stop checking the clock, you stop needing reassurance, you stop asking whether it's working. Why? Because in your world, it already has. And when that feeling becomes natural, when it becomes your resting place, the world begins to bend to match it. Life starts to organize itself around your inner truth. Manifestation happens in that moment when you detach, not because you don't care, but because you care so much that you become one with your desire. You no longer talk about it, you live it, even if no one else sees it yet. You do, and that's enough. That's everything. So trust the process. Trust the silence. Let go of the need and let in the knowing. When you feel that nothing more is needed, when you detach from outcome because the outcome already feels real within you, that's when it arrives. That's when the jackpot appears. Not by force, but by your quiet alignment with truth. The jackpot does not arrive through noise, striving, or endless declarations. It manifests through silence, stillness, and inner certainty. When you stop explaining, when you detach from the need to make it happen, and when you quietly assume your desire as already fulfilled, the universe has no choice but to reflect that back to you. The silent state of having is the true cause of every manifestation. It is in this quiet, confident inner world where the real magic happens. Not in the effort, but in the embodiment. The moment you feel it real and rest in stillness, the jackpot finds you. So I too thanks. Thank you for taking the time to receive these words with an open heart. May you return often to the stillness within and walk each day knowing the power of your quiet assumption. Everything you desire is already yours. Feel it, become it, and rest in the silence that creates worlds. There is no accident in your presence here today. You have been led to this moment not by chance, but by the silent working of your own imagination. The world you see before you is nothing more than a reflection of the thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions you have entertained. And now, I tell you, your time has come. You are no longer waiting. The millions you seek are already yours. But you must first accept this truth, not with the rational mind that questions and doubts, but with the inner knowing that what you claim within must manifest without. You do not need to chase, beg, or toil endlessly for your wealth. The moment you assume yourself to be the one who has it, the entire universe conspires to make it so. See yourself now as the one who has already received. Feel the weight of success pressing upon you. the joy of financial freedom coursing through your being. Walk through this world as one who has no lack, no need, no limitation, because what you assume with conviction becomes the law of your life. If you persist in the feeling of already having, it is impossible for the world not to comply. Doubt not. Let no external appearance shake you. If today your senses tell you a different story, ignore them. Do not look at the world and say, I am still waiting. Instead, say to yourself boldly, it is done. Gratitude is the bridge. Speak as if you are already in possession of your wealth. Say, I am so thankful for the millions flowing into my life. I feel the abundance surrounding me. Speak it until your words become flesh. The path is already laid before you. Your time is no longer in some distant future. Your time is now. Walk in faith, claim your millions within, and watch as the world bends to fulfill your assumption. Everything you see, touch, and experience in this world is nothing more than a reflection of the thoughts you have persistently held within. The reality you call real is, in truth, nothing but a shadow cast by your imagination. There is no outside force shaping your life, no external authority deciding whether you will have wealth or struggle. The only determining factor is the state of consciousness you choose to occupy. You are not separate from your desires. The millions you seek are not something outside of you waiting for the right conditions to appear. They already exist, but they must first exist within you before they can take shape in the physical world. The moment you assume and accept wealth as your reality, the outer world must rearrange itself to mirror that assumption. There is no other way. The mistake many make is in believing that their imagination is simply a form of fantasy, an escape from reality. But this is the great misunderstanding. Imagination is the only reality because it is the source of all things. Everything that exists, every building, every piece of technology, every fortune ever made, first existed in someone's imagination before it took form. Nothing comes into being unless it is first claimed in the unseen. So what does this mean for you? It means that you must assume the state of the millionaire now, before your senses confirm it. You must walk as though wealth is already yours, speak as though you already have it, and think from the position of one who possesses limitless abundance. If you continue to believe that you must work towards it, or that it is something you may have one day, you will forever push it into the future. Live in the end. See yourself in possession of the millions. What does your life look like now that you have it? Where do you live? How do you feel? Who do you help? The clearer you define this reality within, the faster it solidifies in the external world. Do not concern yourself with the how or when. The bridge of incidents will unfold naturally, in ways you cannot predict. But that is not your work. Your work is to hold the assumption firmly, unshaken by any contradiction in the present moment. Doubt is the only thing that delays the process. If you look at your current circumstances and allow them to dictate your belief, you have made the outer world your master instead of the servant it was meant to be. The physical world only reflects, it does not create. To change the reflection, you must change what is projected from within. Your millions are already here, waiting for you to accept them. The moment you embody the feeling of being wealthy, the moment you claim it as your truth, the world must comply. The law is simple. What you assume and persist in must harden into fact. So assume wisely, persist faithfully, and let the world conform to the reality you have created within. The greatest deception in this world is the belief that time separates you from your desires. You have been conditioned to think in terms of waiting, striving, and earning, believing that what you seek is always in the future, just out of reach. But this is an illusion. The truth is that there is no separation between you and your desires, except the belief that they are not yet yours. The moment you claim something as true within, it is yours, for creation is finished and everything already exists in the unseen. When you desire wealth, you are not creating it from nothing. You are simply becoming aware of what already exists in another dimension of reality. It is not something that must be built over time, achieved through struggle, or brought forth by external conditions. Your millions exist now, but they can only become visible when you assume the state of already having them. This is not wishful thinking, it is the law by which all things come into being. Most people delay their blessings by constantly acknowledging their current limitations. They believe that their bank account, job, or circumstances dictate what is possible. But the outer world is just a reflection of past assumptions. If you continue to dwell on the lack, if you keep telling yourself that wealth is coming one day, you are unknowingly pushing it away. You must take possession now, not tomorrow, not next year, but in this very moment. How do you do this? You shift your awareness. Right now, close your eyes and imagine yourself already in possession of great wealth. Feel the joy, the relief, the confidence that comes with knowing you have more than enough. Hear the conversations you would have, experience the ease with which you move through life. This is not daydreaming, this is the creative act. When you persist in this state, it must become your external reality. For the world cannot help but mirror what you are conscious of being. Doubt is the only thing that delays manifestation. The mind conditioned by time will ask, but where is it? Why hasn't it appeared yet? These questions keep you bound to the illusion that you are separate from your desire. The truth is that your assumption is already working. The unseen forces are moving, aligning circumstances, creating the path. But if you look at the world and say nothing is happening, you are stepping out of the state of having and back into the state of waiting. There is nothing to wait for. Your wealth exists now, and it belongs to you the moment you accept it. You must not concern yourself with how it will come or when it will appear. Trust in the law. That which you assume and persist in must become fact. When you embrace this truth and live from it, time will dissolve, and what once seemed distant will be right before you. The promise is now. Claim it. The greatest barrier between you and your desires is the need to control how and when they appear. You have been taught to believe that success comes through effort, strategy, and external action. But this is a misunderstanding of how reality works. Your wealth, your abundance already exists, but it cannot reach you as long as you are consumed with figuring out how it will come and when it will happen. The moment you let go of these questions and rest in the certainty of already having, the unseen forces will move in ways beyond your comprehension to bring it to you. The mind, conditioned by logic and limitation, wants a step-by-step process. It seeks reassurance, asking, what do I need to do? How will this happen? But these questions arise from doubt, and doubt is the only thing that delays manifestation. When you truly understand the power of your assumption, you will no longer need to ask how or when. You will know that once you claim something in consciousness, it must appear in your world. Consider this: when you plant a seed, you do not dig it up every day to check if it is growing. You trust that nature is at work, even though you cannot see the process unfolding beneath the soil. The same principle applies to your desires. The moment you assume yourself to be wealthy, the moment you feel it as true, the process is begun. But if you constantly question whether it is working, if you look around and say, I don't see anything changing, you are uprooting the seed before it has a chance to grow. The unseen forces, those greater laws that govern all of existence, will move in ways you cannot predict. Your job is not to force the path, but to remain faithful to the end result. Your millions could come through an unexpected opportunity, a sudden breakthrough, or a sequence of events you could never have orchestrated. But these events cannot unfold if you insist on micromanaging the process. The moment you let go, you open the door for the universe to work on your behalf. Detachment is not about giving up. It is about trusting completely. It means releasing the need to manipulate circumstances and instead resting in the knowing that what you have assumed must come to pass. It means walking through life as if your wealth is already here, not anxiously searching for proof, but living in the confidence of already having it. If you find yourself doubting, remind yourself, I do not need to know how or when. My only work is to assume the feeling of already having and trust the unseen to arrange the details. The moment you detach from the process, things will begin to shift, paths will open, people will be drawn to you, and circumstances will adjust in ways you could not have imagined. Trust this. Let go of control. Let the unseen forces move mountains on your behalf. For they will, if only you allow them. Wealth is not something you pursue. It is something you embody. The moment you believe wealth is outside of you, something to chase, it will always remain just out of reach. But when you understand that wealth is a state of being, you shift from striving to receiving. You do not become wealthy through effort alone. You become wealthy by assuming the identity of one who already possesses it. Everything in your life is a reflection of the state of consciousness you consistently occupy. If you see yourself as someone who is struggling, if you speak about lack, if you constantly affirm that money is difficult to obtain, then your world will reflect that belief. But the moment you assume the identity of a wealthy person, not in arrogance, but in certainty, your external world will have no choice but to conform. Ask yourself, how does a millionaire think? How do they carry themselves? What are their daily habits, their thoughts, their actions? They do not walk with hesitation. They move with confidence. They do not speak about lack. They affirm abundance. They do not look at price tags with fear. They know money is a resource that flows to them effortlessly. If you truly believe that wealth is already yours, your entire demeanor will shift. Start by adjusting the way you speak. Words shape reality, for they reveal the beliefs you hold. Stop saying, I can't afford this, or I wish I had more money. Instead, affirm, money flows to me easily, or I always have more than enough. Even if your external circumstances seem unchanged, hold firm in this new language, for it is planting the seeds of a different reality. Then shift the way you walk. Confidence is a sign of wealth. A wealthy person does not rush in desperation. They move with certainty, knowing that everything they desire is already theirs. Stand taller, breathe deeply, and embody the presence of one who has already achieved success. The world responds not to what you wish, but to what you are, and you must become it internally before it manifests externally. Next, align your thinking. Wealthy individuals do not dwell on problems. They focus on solutions. They do not see obstacles as roadblocks, but as stepping stones to greater abundance. When faced with financial challenges, ask yourself, how would a millionaire handle this? And act accordingly. Instead of shrinking in fear, step forward in faith, knowing that you have already won. Your external world is simply a mirror of the state you persist in. If you continuously occupy the mindset of one who already has millions, the world must arrange itself to match that assumption. This is not theory, it is law. Let go of the belief that wealth is something distant, something that requires years of struggle. Assume it now. Live as though it is already yours, and reality will reshape itself to prove you right. You are not waiting to become wealthy. You already are. Walk, speak, and think accordingly. The only thing standing between you and the life you desire is persistence. What you assume to be true, what you repeatedly claim within, must by law manifest in your outer world. But the mistake most people make is abandoning their assumption too soon. They look around, see no immediate evidence, and let doubt creep in. Doubt is the only enemy. It is a force that keeps you bound to your old reality, preventing the new from taking form. You must understand that the world you see is simply a reflection of past thoughts, past beliefs, past assumptions. If you have spent years believing in struggle, in limitation, then your external world will still reflect that for a time, even after you change your assumptions. But that does not mean your new reality is not forming. The unseen forces are at work, arranging circumstances, aligning opportunities, shifting the very fabric of your existence. The only thing that can stop this process is your own impatience, your own wavering in belief. Think of a seed planted in the soil. It does not sprout the moment you place it there. Days, even weeks may pass before you see evidence of growth. But the process has begun the moment you planted it. If you were to dig it up every day, questioning if it is working, you would destroy its ability to grow. The same is true for your assumptions. The moment you assume something as true, truly feel it to be real, the process begins. But if you waver, if you return to your old doubts, you halt its progress. Your only task is to persist until it hardens into fact. No matter what the outer world shows you, hold firm in your inner assumption. If your bank account still shows lack, ignore it. If circumstances seem unchanged, persist. The world has no choice but to conform to your dominant state of consciousness, but you must remain faithful to it. Many people give up just before the breakthrough. They assume wealth, they feel it, they begin to see small changes. But then a challenge arises, and they fall back into fear, into worry, into doubt. They let the external world dictate their inner state, instead of understanding that their inner state is what dictates the external. This is why persistence is everything. How long must you persist? Until it is real. Until the outer world bends to match your assumption. It does not matter how long it takes. What matters is that you do not waver. You do not check for evidence. You do not question. You do not seek validation from the world. You remain firm in the knowing that what you have assumed is already yours. This is the secret. Not wishful thinking, not hoping, not trying. It is knowing and persisting in that knowing until it takes form. Doubt delays. Fear repels, but persistence creates. Hold your vision and reality will be forced to conform. It is law. Gratitude is the final key that seals your reality. When you are truly grateful, you confirm that you already possess what you desire. You do not beg for it, nor do you wonder if it will come. You know it is yours. Gratitude is not just a feeling. It is the ultimate act of faith. It is the silent yet powerful declaration that you have already received, and in that confirmation, you accelerate the arrival of your desire into the physical world. Most people express gratitude only after they receive something, but this is backward thinking. Gratitude must come before the manifestation, not after. If you wait to be grateful only when you see evidence, then you are still operating from doubt. You are still assuming that what you want is separate from you. But when you are grateful in advance, you are stepping into the state of already having, already being, already possessing. And when you persist in that state, the world must rearrange itself to prove you right. Think of how you feel when you have already received something wonderful. There is no anxiety, no doubt, no impatience, just peace and joy. That feeling is the vibration of having, and it is what draws your desire to you faster than anything else. When you say, "Thank you for my financial abundance," even when your bank account says otherwise, you are making a declaration. You are telling the universe, "I know it is already done. I am already that person." Many people unknowingly delay their blessings because they are too focused on when and how their desire will come. They keep checking, worrying, questioning. But gratitude dissolves all of that. The moment you step into gratitude, you release the need to control. You are no longer concerned with the how because you already know it is yours. This trust creates the perfect conditions for manifestation, allowing unseen forces to move without resistance. Gratitude also shifts your focus from lack to abundance. When you dwell on what you don't have, you amplify that reality. But when you focus on what you do have, even if it is only in imagination, you align yourself with more abundance. You train your mind to see opportunities, to recognize wealth, to expect success. And as you persist in this awareness, it must externalize. Each morning, before you even open your eyes, affirm, "Thank you for the millions that are already mine." Feel the joy as if it has already happened. Walk through your day in that energy, knowing that it is unfolding perfectly. Let gratitude be your proof that your reality is already shifting. This is not wishful thinking, it is law. You do not receive and then give thanks. You give thanks and then you receive. The moment you make gratitude your default state, you step into the life that was always meant for you. It is already yours. Everything you desire already exists. The wealth, the success, the abundance. It is not something you must chase, beg for, or force into being. It is something you must claim. Your imagination is the only reality, and what you persist in assuming must become your experience. Time is an illusion. The moment you accept your wealth in consciousness, it is already yours. You do not need to know how or when. Your only task is to trust. Live in the state of already having. Think and walk as one who possesses millions, and persist until the world bends to match your inner conviction. Doubt is the only enemy, and gratitude is the final seal that confirms your reality. When you are grateful in advance, you accelerate the arrival of all you desire. Now, step forward with certainty. The wealth you seek is not in some distant future. It is here, now. Assume it, feel it, give thanks for it, and watch as it materializes in ways you could never have imagined. Your time has come. You will have millions. Thank you. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. Your bank account flooded with wealth beyond measure. The air around you thick with the ease and security of financial abundance. Breathe it in. Feel the weight of prosperity upon your shoulders, not as a burden, but as a liberation, because it is already yours. You do not chase wealth. Wealth is drawn to you. It arrives not through force, but through alignment. Those who are truly rich do not hope for wealth. They embody it. Their posture, their tone, their decisions, all rooted in the certainty that abundance is their birthright. And so, if you would walk into your inheritance, you must first assume the feeling of already possessing it. The mind does not differentiate between what is seen and what is deeply believed. If you persist in this assumption, the world has no choice but to rearrange itself to reflect your conviction. Do not ask, "When will the millions come?" Do not plead with circumstances to change. Instead ask, "How would I feel right now if I already had it?" How would you walk into a room? How would you carry yourself, knowing that every financial need was met before you even spoke a word? This is not pretense, it is creation. You are not pretending to be wealthy, you are claiming the wealth that is already yours in the unseen. When you master the art of feeling it real, your external world must follow. It is law. Live today as though you already hold the millions in your hands. Speak as one who has arrived. Give thanks for the abundance that has already found you, and soon you will open your eyes to a world that has reshaped itself to match your inner reality. You have already won. Now act like it. The world you see around you is not separate from you. It is a mirror. Every circumstance, every event, every person who enters your life is merely an external projection of what you hold to be true within. If you believe yourself to be struggling, the world will give you more struggle. If you accept limitation as your truth, limitation will follow you like a shadow. But if you embrace abundance as your natural state, the world must conform and provide it. Understand this, you do not react to reality, you create it. Most people make the mistake of believing they must first see physical evidence of wealth before they can feel wealthy. They wait for a change in their bank account, a promotion, or an external validation to confirm their success. But this is entirely backward. The world does not cause your feelings cause the world to shift. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself as a person of great wealth. Not someone who is hoping for riches, but someone who already has them. How do you walk? How do you speak? How do you make decisions? A wealthy person does not hesitate when presented with an opportunity. They do not second guess whether they are deserving. They move with certainty because their inner world already knows they are wealthy. Now, here is the secret that changes everything. If you can assume this mindset now, before the wealth appears, the wealth must come. This is not wishful thinking, this is law. The outer world is powerless to do anything except reflect your inner state. Your beliefs about money, success, and yourself act as an invisible force shaping the conditions of your life. So, if you desire wealth, do not ask, when will it come? Instead, ask how you would feel if it were already here. Immerse yourself in that feeling until it becomes your dominant state of being. Let gratitude flood your heart as though you have already received it. Walk through life as one who has arrived, not as one who is waiting. Reality does not create your belief creates reality. The moment you shift internally, the world must shift externally. Your wealth is already yours. It is only waiting for you to claim it. Do not wait for millions to appear before you believe they are yours. Do not look to your bank account for confirmation of your wealth. The greatest secret of creation is this. You must assume the feeling of already having what you desire, and the world must conform to your assumption. Most people make the mistake of thinking they must first see wealth before they can believe in it. They wait for external proof, for circumstances to shift, before they allow themselves to feel abundant. But this is the opposite of how reality works. The world does not give you what you want, it gives you who you are being in consciousness. If you feel lack, you will receive more lack. If you feel wealthy, even when physical evidence is not yet present, wealth must find you. This is the law of assumption. Assumption is not mere daydreaming, it is the state of certainty. It is the inner conviction that what you desire is already yours, even if your senses tell you otherwise. The mind does not distinguish between what is physically real and what is vividly imagined. When you persist in the assumption that you are already wealthy, your subconscious mind accepts it as truth, and your external world begins to shift accordingly. Imagine a person who has just won millions. How do they walk? How do they speak? How do they make choices? They do not hesitate, doubt, or second guess. They move through life with ease, knowing that financial struggle is no longer a concern. Now ask yourself, why wait for the money to arrive before stepping into this mindset? If the law states that assumption precedes reality, then begin now, embody the feeling of wealth before it materializes, and soon it must. The only thing that delays manifestation is your doubt, your hesitation, your tendency to look at what is rather than focusing on what will be. Your reality is fluid, always reshaping itself to match your dominant assumption. The moment you fully commit to believing in your wealth without needing to see it first, the channels will open and it will come. So act as though you already have it. Make decisions from the mindset of abundance. Feel gratitude as if your millions are already deposited in your account. Reality will have no choice but to mirror your unwavering assumption. It is already yours. Claim it. One of the greatest obstacles to manifesting wealth is the obsession with how it will come. The logical mind seeks control, wanting to map out every step, predict every outcome, and force circumstances into alignment. But this is a mistake. The how is not your concern. Your only responsibility is to assume the mindset of a wealthy person and trust that the path will reveal itself effortlessly. Think of a tree growing from a seed. The seed does not need to worry about how the sunlight will reach it or how the roots will find water. It simply grows because it is its nature to do so. In the same way, when you plant the seed of wealth in your consciousness, life arranges the right people, circumstances, and opportunities to make it real. Your only task is to remain rooted in the assumption that you are already wealthy. The problem arises when people try to force wealth into their lives through worry, doubt, or excessive effort. They constantly check their surroundings for signs of progress, questioning whether it's working, whether they are doing it right, whether they should change their strategy. But these actions reveal a lack of faith. True wealth does not come from desperation. It comes from certainty. A wealthy person does not obsess over how money will arrive. They do not stress over whether the opportunity will come through a job, an investment, a business deal, or an unexpected windfall. They simply know that money flows to them effortlessly. Their confidence in this truth is what keeps the doors open for abundance to enter. When you detach from the how, you allow the universe to deliver your wealth in the most efficient, unexpected, and often miraculous ways. You open yourself to opportunities you never could have planned for. The only thing that can block your wealth is your insistence on controlling the process. So, release the need to know. Surrender the details. Assume the feeling of wealth now, and let life figure out the rest. Walk, speak, and act like a person who already has everything they desire. Your belief is the engine that moves reality, and the moment you stop resisting, the floodgates will open. Trust the process. The wealth is already on its way. Let it come. Everything you experience in life originates from one place: your imagination. The wealth you desire, the success you dream of, the freedom you long for, none of these can manifest until you first conceive them in your mind. The world you see around you is simply a reflection of your inner world. If you persist in seeing yourself as someone who struggles, your life will continue to reflect struggle. But the moment you assume the mindset of wealth, your reality must shift to match it. Imagination is not mere fantasy. It is the blueprint of creation. What you vividly assume to be true in your mind becomes true in the physical world. This is the great secret of life. You do not need to wait for wealth to appear before you feel wealthy. Instead, you must feel wealthy first, and then wealth will appear. The order is crucial. Ask yourself, if I had already won millions, how would I think? How would I speak? How would I move through the world? A wealthy person does not worry about bills. They do not hesitate to invest in themselves. They do not operate from a mindset of scarcity or fear. Instead, they live with confidence, ease, and joy, knowing that their wealth is an unshakable part of their reality. If you begin to embody this mindset now, before any external proof appears, the world must rearrange itself to match your assumption. This is why so many remain stuck in cycles of lack. They continue to see themselves as lacking. They allow their current circumstances to dictate their beliefs instead of using their imagination to override those circumstances. But when you truly assume the state of being wealthy, the outer world has no choice but to conform. Your subconscious mind, which governs all things, will begin to lead you to the right opportunities, the right connections, and the right actions, all effortlessly. So live in the assumption now. When you wake up, feel the excitement of already being wealthy. When you walk, walk with confidence. When you make decisions, do so from the mindset of someone who already has everything they need. The more real it feels in your imagination, the faster it will become real in your life. Reality is not fixed. It is shaped by your dominant thoughts. And when you persist in the assumption that you are already wealthy, your world must reshape itself to match. It is law. Gratitude is the most powerful confirmation of belief. It is the seal of faith, the evidence that you already know your desire is yours. When you express gratitude before you see the millions in your bank account, you signal to the universe that you have already received it in consciousness. And what is accepted in consciousness must manifest in the physical world. Most people only express gratitude after they receive something. They wait until they see proof, until circumstances confirm their desire has arrived. But this is the opposite of how creation works. If you truly believe that wealth is already yours, would you not already be grateful? Would you not wake up each morning with a heart full of appreciation, knowing that your millions are simply making their way into your hands? Gratitude is the bridge between assumption and manifestation. When you assume the feeling of already having wealth and follow it with deep, sincere gratitude, you dissolve all doubt. You no longer question whether it is coming, you know it is. And when there is no doubt, no hesitation, no fear, it must appear. Imagine a person who has just won millions. They do not wake up questioning if they are wealthy. They know it, and they feel overwhelming gratitude for it. Now take on that same mindset. Each day, thank the universe, God, or your higher self for the financial abundance that is already yours. Say, I am so grateful that wealth flows effortlessly to me. I am thankful for the millions that are already mine. My financial freedom is secured, and I rejoice in the endless opportunities that surround me. This gratitude should not be forced or robotic. It must be felt. When you truly feel gratitude for something, it imprints on your subconscious mind as truth. And what the subconscious accepts as truth will always be reflected in your outer world. So express gratitude not just once, but consistently. Be thankful for the opportunities, the ideas, the unexpected gifts, and the unseen forces working in your favor. Even before physical proof appears, give thanks as if it is already done. This is the final step. The moment you surrender, trust, and allow the wealth to flow to you. Gratitude completes the process, sealing your assumption into reality. Your millions are already yours. Now rejoice in them. The only thing standing between you and the life of abundance you desire is your ability to persist in your assumption until it hardens into fact. Most people falter because they allow doubt, fear, and external circumstances to dictate their belief. They assume wealth for a moment, then look around and see no change, and immediately revert to their old mindset of lack. But creation is not instant. It requires persistence. The moment you assume yourself to be wealthy, the process has already begun. Your subconscious mind has received the command, and the unseen forces of the universe have set events into motion. But if you waver, if you question, if you doubt, if you start searching for evidence, you interrupt the process. You uproot the seed before it has a chance to grow. Reality always lags behind imagination. The world you see now is simply the reflection of your past assumptions. If you want a new reality, you must hold firm to your new assumption until your world reshapes itself accordingly. A sculptor does not abandon his work midway because the marble has not yet taken form. He persists, chiseling away, knowing that the masterpiece already exists within the stone. Your wealth is already within you. It is simply waiting for you to persist in your assumption long enough for it to take shape. Doubt and worry are the destroyers of creation. The moment you entertain thoughts of, what if it doesn't happen, or maybe this isn't working, you introduce resistance, slowing down the manifestation process. But when you remain unwavering, when you refuse to be moved by temporary appearances, you demonstrate true faith. And faith is the force that bends reality to your will. Each day, reinforce your assumption. Feel it, live in it, walk in it, speak as though it is already done. If circumstances try to contradict your belief, ignore them. Your current reality is merely the shadow of your past thoughts. Your new assumption is the cause. Reality must eventually conform to it. So persist. Remain steadfast no matter what appears before you. Continue assuming, believing, and knowing until what was once a vision in your mind becomes an undeniable fact in your world. This is law. Your millions are already yours. Hold the assumption until it manifests, and when it does, you will look back and realize it was always yours. Everything you desire, wealth, success, abundance, already exists within you. Your imagination is the key. What you assume to be true will inevitably take form in your world. When you act as if you have already won millions, when you detach from the how, when you persist in your belief without doubt, and when you express deep gratitude as if it is already done, you activate the unseen forces that shape reality in your favor. The only thing required of you is faithful persistence. Do not look to the outside world for confirmation. Create from within. The world is simply reflecting your dominant state of mind. If you remain steadfast in your assumption, reality must shift to match it. This is an unbreakable law. So, walk forward with confidence. Live as though your wealth is already here. Speak it, feel it, embody it. The millions you desire are not in some distant future. They are already yours in consciousness, waiting to materialize. Now, go forth with unwavering belief. Hold the assumption, persist until it hardens into fact. And when the wealth appears, as it surely will, you will not be surprised, for you knew all along that it was already yours. Thank you for listening. Your abundance is waiting. Claim it now.